Lesson 3.4, the virtual revolution. Be careful with the pronunciation for this word. It's virtual. Most people would be tempted to say virtual. Okay, there's a big difference. Virtual. Okay, so you've got the DVD preview activity with a few questions that you're supposed to answer. You will have a fill in the gaps activity. Here, discuss how has the internet changed the world. You will have to just fill in the gaps with one word. Then you've got activity 2A, in which you are supposed to simply think about the things that you have mentioned. Be careful with the pronunciation of wealth. Okay, don't be tempted to say wealth. No, this is wealth. Okay, it means the amount of possessions or richness in general. Challenge authority. It allows authorities to spy and to censor. Okay, those are verbs in that position. It has created a generation of web addicts. Normally you pronounce it all together, web addicts. It opens up new realms of knowledge. Okay, it has allowed the pioneers and key players in technology to become powerful. It has made e-shopping possible. All of these terms are very useful terms, and it's very useful for vocabulary for the lesson, and this is something that you need to check online if you don't know any of them, and you need to try and remember them and use them when you do an activity in class. You are supposed to read the instructions here. It says read the instructions. What is it about? And who does the presenter speak to? And here's where you really need to answer with a fill in the gaps activity that I put in the platform. Next, you've got the DVD view activity. You're supposed to click here and watch the DVD, and then you put the statistics in the order they are mentioned. So all of these statements about statistics are out of the right sequence, and you're supposed to simply write the letter. The first one is going to be, or the A is going to be in the 5th place, so you write a number 5 here. Okay, so you write the numbers, as in the example given in the platform. Next, you've got activity 5A and B. In 5A and B, you have to match the people below to the extracts. So you've got 1, Alex Krotowski, the presenter. You're going to use it twice. You can match it to item A. In the 10 years that I've been studying the web and writing about it as a journalist, I've seen it take our world and shake it apart. Next, we've got activity 6A on the next page, on page 41. A listening activity that says, listen to a woman talking about how she prefers to communicate via phone calls, emails, letters, text messages, or face-to-face. What does she say about the first 4 topics below? Okay, so in the platform you will see giving good news, and you will have a gap there for you to write, in the example, face-to-face. Just that. So you will use the type of communication after the type of, let's say, a function given here in the list. Then when you listen to this again, although this is not in the platform, you can look at the key phrases here, like it depends on. Be careful, because most of you make the mistake of using the wrong preposition and say it depends off. And even worse, most people have problems with the pronunciation of this S. And a lot of people move it here and they say it's depend, and that's totally wrong. Okay, pronunciation should be it depends, and the S should be sibilant here. It depends on. So this is an expression you need really to learn it by heart, practice it at home, repeat it many times, because on top of that all, it's something that you want to use a lot when you're using English in class or outside the class. Then you've got it's much better to, I prefer to. On the other hand, be careful with this expression too, because a lot of people I've noticed, they use it like a Spanish expression like por otro lado, like to talk about a different topic, and it's not the case. On the other hand, that means that you are contrasting something, and you should have said previously, on the one hand, so you for instance, if you're talking about pros and cons, you could say, on the one hand, this going by car to the school has advantages because you can go faster and you don't depend on the bus, etc. But on the other hand, you can spend, or you should spend more money, because you have to spend money on the gasoline. You also need to find parking space, etc. So you see, you're contrasting in this example the pros and cons of going by car to the school. Then you've got, in those circumstances, that's a very good expression to learn and try to use. The best way to do this is it's more convenient. People really appreciate, I like it when, okay, all of those are very useful expressions. Last, you have activity 7a. It says your company has decided to have email-free Fridays. So on Fridays, nobody uses email. Read the notes below and answer the question, what are the reasons for doing this? You will have a fill in the gap activity in which you will have to use one word or combination of words. So you really need to read these notes first before you try to answer this activity.